Hey class, good morning, good Sunday morning, and welcome back to week 2 of lifespan development. I can't believe I'm saying it. We're already in our second week. I know I'm going to say it a lot, but it's going to fly by, guys. But summer's going to be here before you know it. You may not think it now, but it will be here before we know it. So we gotta hang on and make it through and finish strong. So already in week 2. Hopefully you're having a great weekend. Weather's been really nice. The Thunder killed the Cleveland Cavaliers yesterday. If you're a basketball fan, it was a lot of fun to watch for me personally. Love watching the Thunder. I've made a choice for this week's video. I chose to not wear my glasses because a lot of times when I'm recording these videos, I get some glare and it's kind of hard to tell if my eyes are actually looking at the camera, so it's a little awkward for me. So we're going to try it out. My vision's a little limited, but I can at least see my own eyes. So it's just an awkward element for me. Maybe you guys probably don't care, or maybe you do. I don't know, but it kind of weirds me out. So anyways, welcome back. Hopefully you had a great first week. I thought our first week of discussions were great. They were very interesting. I loved getting to know everyone. We have a lot of nursing majors in our class, which is I think typical for this class, and the last time I taught it, I almost had all exclusively nursing majors, so I'm not surprised. But I think we have a really good bunch this semester. I thought your discussions about the cohort effect were very interesting. I thought a lot of your discussions were about technology and some things like that. But I thought it was really interesting that many of you were able to point out differences, but you also to be able to come back and say, yeah, we have a lot of these differences. Like we disagree about this, but ultimately there's a lot of big picture things that we do agree about. Maybe values or morals and things like that. So while we can talk about the differences, I think it's also cool to point out there's a lot of similarities between generations too. I think it's so easy to just say, oh, look at that, this generation and whatever. I'm sure the millennials will start talking smack on the next one that comes around. So it's probably cyclical. Anyways, great first week. I wanted to point out, though, as far as grades are concerned, I posted those. If you did not receive a 15 out of 15, please review the guidelines for discussions that I posted last week, or just reach out to me and I'll be happy to shed some light on maybe why you didn't receive full credit. Typically, I deduct points either because your post wasn't timely, meaning you didn't get it in by Wednesday, or 2, maybe your response posts were kind of skimpy. So I do deduct points if your responses aren't very thorough either. So just keep that in mind, and I'll be happy to let you know what you missed if you're concerned and want to reach out to me. This week, we're moving on to week 2, moving on to bigger and better things. We're going to read chapter 3 and chapter 4 this week. So chapter 3 is on prenatal development. So chapter 3, you're going to be looking at what happens in development before a child is even born. You'll look at birth itself, and then sort of the postpartum period, the period that follows birth. And then after that, read chapter 4. We're jumping into our first sort of stage. If you want to consider it stages, we're looking now at infancy. Chapter 4 is about the physical development of during infancy. There's a ton of development during infancy. A child experiences a ton of growth physically. I think it's like by the time they're 3 years old, 70% head size. There's just a ton of physical growth in children at a very young age. So it's really, this stage is so critical for development. Getting the right resources, nutrients, love, and support is so vital at this stage in a child's life. So in this chapter, in chapter 4, you're going to be looking at the physical growth and development during infancy, specifically looking at motor development, how children learn to use their limbs. It takes them a while. It's not like children come out, they're really awkward. They don't know how to use their limbs when they're first born. They have to kind of figure it out. And then finally looking at sensory and perceptual development, like sight, sound, things like that. Again, it's one thing that's interesting about human children is that they don't come, other animals when they're born, they're kind of ready to go. Humans, we're still baking in the oven, so to speak. We're still developing even after we're born. So I think it's what makes us very vulnerable. But it's also part of our charm too. So anyways, for this week, read chapters 3 and 4. I have posted a discussion post. I believe it's on chapter 3. It's a subject around chapter 3. I went ahead and posted that. And I will try to post discussions at least no later than Sunday, but usually by Saturday. That way you have almost a full week to work on discussion posts if you time your schedule that way. So even though they're due on Friday, I post them usually a week out. So I try to give you as much time as possible. Also wanted to give you a heads up. We have an exam every 4 chapters. So after this week, I will be posting exam 1. Exam 1 is a multiple choice exam that covers chapters 1 through 4. It covers, some of the basic elements of chapter 4. And to review, I don't have study guides, but I have some crossword puzzles that cover the main concepts and topics for each chapter. So I have posted a puzzle for each chapter. You have puzzles for chapters 1 and 2 already, and chapters 3 and 4 as well. So feel free to use those to review. Feel free to take good notes as you're reading. Feel free to ask me questions. Ask your peers questions as well. That's how you're going to do well in the test, is by asking questions if you have them. If you don't have questions, if you don't ask questions, I assume you don't have them. So I'm not a mind reader, but I'll be happy to answer any question you have, any concern you have. You just got to reach out to me. So I think that's about it for this week's video. I try to keep them kind of short during the week, now that we're not covering like the syllabus and stuff like that. So for this week, make sure that you read chapters 3 and chapters 4. Also, we have a discussion post that's due this Friday. I've posted some crossword puzzles for you to review, and our first exam is next week, not this week, but next week, and I will post it probably next Saturday and give you like a week and however many days to do it. So anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful second week. Keep pressing on, keep on keeping on, and I'm looking forward to this week's discussions and hearing from you all again. Other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you next week. All right, bye.